This is the first time doing this live, so we'll see how this goes. Today, or tonight rather, it's 11:52 p.m. where I am currently. But I'm basically here to talk to you about relationships and high standards. Specifically, I guess geared towards more towards females, since that's who I can relate to. But I guess it goes for guys as well. But basically, when you are in a relationship and you think of high standards, what do you think of? Because for me, when you're in a serious relationship, your high standards should be like, does he have, not just a job, but does he have a decent paying job? Or does she have a decent paying job? It works both ways. And, does he or she have reliable transportation? Because if you're going to see each other and you're going to be in a, committed, long-term, serious relationship, you're going to want to see each other. And, say for example, like I know with me and my boyfriend when we first started dating, and still to this day, really, because we're not moved in together yet, but soon, he and I live about an hour away from each other. That can be a lot on one person, to have to make that commitment to drive to that other person's house every single time. There should be a halfway point. And, rather it's meeting halfway, or whether it's he drove last week, so she drives this week, or vice versa. I feel like this is not the 1950s. If whatever amount of effort he's making, that's as much effort as she should put into the relationship. And like I said before, both ways, vice versa. It should really be equal, not 70 and 30 or 80 and 20%. It needs to be a two-way street in a relationship. That's really the only way you're going to have a successful relationship to work. Because if one person's putting in all the effort, it's not going to go anywhere. And the other person who's not putting in any effort is just going to, take advantage of it. That's the best way of putting it. The other person who's putting in all the effort is going to feel drained. And they're going to be like, I always do this, I always do that, so-and-so never does this, and I'm always doing this. And that can really take a toll on the relationship. Not just the person, but the relationship itself. People make mistakes in relationships. Things are going to happen. People are going to, really screw up. But if that love is there, then that's what matters. But at the same time, you can't make excuses and be like, say, for example, in this scenario, say, what's the best way of putting this? Say, in the relationship, whether it's a guy or girl, I don't care. Say, this person really has a nice figure, this person is really attractive to me, this person is really hardworking, this, and this, and you have all these great things about this person that you're just, like, so in love with. But then there's one or two things that you wish you could change. And you're like, well, if he or she would just do this, or he or she would just do that, it would be perfect. You don't want to do that. Because that means you're lowering your standards. Your standards need to be up here. And when you find that perfect relationship. I mean, obviously, no relationship is perfect, but the perfect person that you're meant to be with. Because I say it like this, I don't even know how to let people like talk or join this thing, so I'm just gonna keep on talking, I guess. But you know, if there's one or two things that you want to change about this person, and you think that it would just make everything better, if you could do that, then you're probably not with the right person. Because for me, I started dating at, at a rather really young age. And like around 14 was my very first puppy love boyfriend. Everybody has those, when you're in high school, sometimes even middle school. And excuse me. Like I said, this puppy love relationships, and sometimes they're great and they work out and they last a long time and y'all end up getting married like high school sweethearts, and that's great and dandy. But then sometimes it takes people a little bit longer. And, which is fine. You don't have to get married or be in a relationship 24/7 or, feel like you have to have someone. Because in reality, you don't. When you're younger, you should be focusing on yourself. How can I make myself better? How can I use my time? How can I, should I be working out? Should I be focusing on my schoolwork? Should I be focusing on getting a job so I can pay my bills? Those sorts of things. And usually when you're working on yourself, that's when a person comes along, because they see how much, what's the right word? Like, they see how much effort you're putting into yourself, how much you're taking of yourself. And that can be attracted to someone saying, she's doing things, or he's really going after that. He really wants to make something of himself, or she really wants to be independent and make something of herself. Then that's most likely when you're not even paying attention, it's right under your nose, and something happens. But when you're like, I really want a boyfriend, I really need a boyfriend, I'm so lonely, sorry, but that ain't attractive. You kind of look desperate, just saying. So, for me, I'll just tell you my story then, since this is where it's going. When I was 14, I dated this guy for like a year, and then it was just like, yeah, no. And I feel like I'm gonna sneeze right now. Excuse me. So, that was just the first, puppy love relationship I ever had. And then I don't think I dated one again until like high school. And I was roughly like 16. That relationship lasted 3 or 4 years. Was it? I started dating him. Yeah, it must have been 4 years, because I started dating that guy like my freshman year of high school. And he was a little bit older than me, still in high school, but a little bit, older than me. He might have been like a junior. So, he was really loving, he was really sweet, he was really kind, family oriented, which I thought, were all great things. Because when I was 16, I wasn't thinking, oh, how are we going to pay the bills? How is he motivated to really, get a job or keep a job? When you're 16, you don't think about all those things. You think about, oh my God, he's so sweet. He opened the door for me. He paid for this. He took me on a date. He did that. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy and peachy keen at 16. But as you get older, you're like, being sweet and attractive ain't going to pay the bills. And, you know, maybe if you're a model and you get paid to look good or whatever, then that's a different story, but that isn't the case for everyone. So, basically, you need to find someone who not only is going to, be attractive and make you happy, but someone who is driven, someone who is a go-getter, someone who, no matter what situation they're in, whether they just lost a job, whether their car broke down, whether whatever, meaning that they're not going to just sit on their butt and wait at home for some employer to call them. Because guess what? They're not going to call you. So like, what was I going to say? I do this so often. But, okay. Let me click on this chat thing. I want to figure this out. I want people to be able to. Oops. Okay, here I am. I'm back again. I don't know how to figure this out later. I want people to be able to, like, communicate and talk back and forth to me. So, anyway, regardless of like, trying to find how to do that, you need to have high standards for yourself, because the more you date, especially if you're at, like, a younger age, like, high school age and up, the more you date, the more experience you have, the more dates you go on, the more you're going to realize, I don't like that person. They're really sweet and everything, but we went on another date and I don't think so. Or, there's going to be little things that will bother you about that person, and you thought you really, really liked that person, but then there's going to be like one or two things that'll set you off, and you'll be like, oh my God, what was I thinking? And trust me, you'll go through a lot of those. And, like I said, first boyfriend that I ever had, like, little puppy love, even though it lasted a year, I still consider it puppy love. From then on out, went on lots of dates, not very many boyfriends, but lots of dates. And, it was because after the first or second date, I said, bye. And, my phone fell off the bed. So yeah, you're gonna go on like one or two dates, and then you're gonna be like, yeah, see you later. Think not. And, which is fine, which means you're developing higher standards for yourself. But if you just go on the date and have a boyfriend to have a boyfriend, or a girlfriend to have a girlfriend, you're not really learning anything from it, and you're just settling. Excuse me. And settling is a bad thing to do. How do I know? I've done it. So, like, I'll admit to this. Like, I've been on dates from Christian Mingle. I've been on dates from Zeus, if you've ever heard of that dating app thing on Facebook. I've been on dates from Plenty of Fish. And the more and more dates that I went on, I was just like, I don't think so. This one is lying. This one doesn't have a good job. Or this one does this, or this one does that. Like, every week I would get like a new notification or email from like whatever dating site it was on, and have another date right after I just went on another date. And I said, you know what the heck, I'll go on another date and see how this one goes. And I kept going on these dates, and it was just like, okay, maybe I should give dating a break for a while. So I gave a dating break for a while. And then I heard about, after Christian Mingle, because my mom was actually paying for Christian Mingle. She was like, oh, try this site out. And all the people that I went on dates with from there, were actually pretty weird. Like, I thought it would be great because, I do come from a Christian background. I thought, oh, I'll find a guy from a Christian background. It'll be great. We'll go to the same church. We'll do this. We'll do that. Thought everything would be fine and dandy. And every single guy that I went on a date from there was just like, seriously? Yeah, but like for real. So, I can't even begin to tell you, like, the one that I do remember, it was like, we went on to, out to like a restaurant, which was a really nice restaurant. I enjoyed what I was eating, but then after the second or third bite, I'm like, you know what? I can't eat this anymore. It's so awkward, I can't even eat. I mean, that's pretty awkward if you can't even, like, finish your meal and you're watching your date that's sitting across from you, because on a first date, you're not really going to sit next to each other. When you're on a, I'm talking about like a booth in a restaurant, you're not going to sit next to each other because you don't know each other that well. So at this point, you're like sitting across from each other and you're just staring at each other. And it's really awkward. And, so anyways, this guy had this like big bowl of rice and chicken and everything, and he's just chowing down over there going, nom, 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 nom. And I'm sitting there with my like little tiny appetizer that I got, and it was like a quesadilla. It wasn't very big, and mine had 5 or 6 little triangle squares, and I just remember eating that thing so slowly. And then I ate this, like, the second one, I only ate a bite out of it, and I'm just like, yeah, no. Because, like, there's girls who will order a salad or will order something really light on a date because they don't want to look like they eat too much or whatever. And that's fine and dandy, whatever you want to do. But, like, I'll eat a hamburger in front of my boyfriend. I'll eat, a steak in front of my boyfriend. I don't care. But, like, I don't know, maybe on a first date you are supposed to, I probably do get lighter meals on a first date, but once you're, like, in that relationship or whatever, and, you eat a steak, who cares? But, like, anyways, I couldn't even eat. Like, if it was a normal, relaxed, and I don't even know what normal is anymore, but if it was like a relaxed date setting, and it wasn't awkward, then I would have been eating, and I would have been talking, and everything would have been fine. But the fact that I was just like, staring at him eating, and I'm not eating anything, that's just awkward. And then Our second date, I don't remember where he took me. Bowling. The same guy took me bowling, and it was fun or whatever, but I didn't really want to be there because you just kept getting one beer after another, one beer after another, one beer after another, and another, and another, and another. And it's like, how many beers are you going to drink on this second date? Like, you're supposed to be trying to impress me, not drinking 8, 9 beers and getting tipsy or whatever. Or, maybe a little more than tipsy since you're drinking that many beers. And it's not like I was even drinking that many. It's not like he was trying to get me drunk or anything, because I didn't even touch those beers. I might have like one. That's it. And but definitely not 8 like him. And I remember that guy called me up one night, and he was like, yeah, I need to talk to you, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I already knew what he was about to say, and I kind of felt the same. Well, not kind of. I did feel the same way. I just didn't know how to say it to him, because thing is, I didn't want to hurt him, and he didn't want to hurt me. So it worked out perfectly. We both got to have a few dates, figure out who each other are, and then say bye-bye. And you'll go through a lot of those till you, know what you want. If there's not chemistry there and it's boring and you feel like you're going to go, yeah, you might as well just, end things now, because you're going to end up hurting someone or hurting yourself. And, then I think it probably went on, maybe 2, 3 more online dates from there. I said, you know what, I'm just about to throw the towel in, forget about this online dating crap, and just meet someone in person. And then, yeah, because now I'm starting to backtrack and think in my mind. Before I started going on all those dates and everything from Christian Mingle, I had a boyfriend from, that I met on Zeus. He's a little bit older than me, not a few years, like maybe 10, and 10 years older, and he was 32, I was 22, and he had a son. First relationship I ever dated anyone that had a child. And anyway, dated him for maybe 2 months, not very long at all. And he provided somewhat of a nice income for himself, still struggling here and there. Because he had a kid and, really wasn't making enough to fully support himself and his son. And I just remember going over there and trying to hang out with his son, trying to, it's just very awkward when you're dating someone who has a child and you're trying to get them to like you and trying to get them to spend time with you, and, you have to know your boundaries. You can't, be their motherly or fatherly figure, but at the same time, you're not like their friend either. So it's just like that awkward stage. But anyways, his son and I made monkey bread together, cooked. His son and I And I try to just be involved in his son's life when I was dating this guy. And I try to do that because, if you watched my other video, I told you in my other video, I've been in that situation as a child. My mom was married 3 times, and I know what it's like for a new boyfriend to, your mom and dad's new boyfriend, or dad, I don't know, vice versa, either way, whether it's mother or father, that new person coming in, and you are walking on eggshells, and you don't want to, what's the best way of putting it? You don't want to, like, make the child feel weird. And, so anyways, he and I ended up breaking up because he was always, claiming he's on business trips, and I really don't know if he really was or really wasn't to this day. I don't care. But, we basically ended up breaking it off because he told me that, the girlfriend he had before me ended up getting pregnant from him, or, it's his child and whatnot. And then, like, 6-7 months later, I'm with the boyfriend that I'm happily in love with, that I am still currently with, and probably getting married, and probably having a child, and all that exciting, fun stuff. But, anyways, that guy called me when I'm, with this boyfriend that I'm so happily in love with, and was like, oh, by the way, that child was not mine. She lied about it. And, how you doing? Hey, sexy thing, do you want to go hang out sometime? No. It's like, it took you 6 to 7 months to, decide whether you wanted to call me back or not. And lo and behold, I'm happily in love with someone. It's just like, I'm sorry, but not gonna be one of those, what are they called? Like, booty dialers. Like, they look up all the numbers in their phone and be like, oh, maybe I'll call her tonight, see if I can get some action. Sorry, it doesn't work that way, sweetie. And especially when I'm happily in love with someone and it ain't your ass. So, so just like things like that. And, it takes a lot of dating. It's basically what it is. If you can picture a field of grass, and there's tons and tons and tons of weeds, ugly shrubbery, ugly weeds, all these ugly, yucky weeds, and then you have one pretty's not even the right word, elegant, beautiful, magnificent, exquisite, basically all these great, brilliant words to describe this one amazing flower. But you can't get to it until you pull out all the shrubbery and the weeds and the ugly roots and the ugly this and the ugly that. And basically the analogy that I'm making is all the ugly shrubbery and weeds are the jerks and assholes that you're going to have to go through to date. And then that one pretty, marvelous flower left standing is the one you're supposed to be with. That's basically my analogy. And I have finally found that flower. Took a really, 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 really long time. Even though I'm not that old. But it still took a really, really, really long time. At least it felt like it. There's some people who don't find their love until they're in their 30s, and that's fine. You know, it's better to not rush things than to just be like, oh, I need this person. I need to be with someone. You know, you don't need to be with someone. You want to be with someone. That's the difference. And, you know, you just have to know that he or she is out there, but you can't sit around waiting for them to just jump on your doorstep. But at the same time, you don't want to just date any old person that just so happens to be there. You know, so like, you just need to, you know, keep your standards high. Do what's best for you. Focus on you. The more you focus on you, the better. You know, you're going to hear your mom or your dad tell you things about dating, and you're not going to want to hear it. And you're going to be like, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. But guess what? When you're about in your 20s, 21, 22, even 21 might be too young, but maybe 22, 23, you're going to be like, you know what? I was so stupid. My mom was right. Or my dad was right. They knew what they were talking about. Why didn't I listen to them in the first place? You know? So, you'll see that. The older you get, you know, the more wiser you'll become, and the more you'll respect your parents more and be like, you know, if I would have listened to them, it wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in now, or wouldn't have had to have dated so many people if I would have listened to what they said first. But a lot of times it doesn't work out like that. A lot of times you have to go through dating the jerks and the assholes and the cheaters and the liars and the garbage, basically. But the great thing is, you don't have to accept that garbage. You know, you can throw it out. You know, you can be like, I think there's like some stupid saying that goes like, oh, mommy and daddy taught me to give my toys to the less fortunate. You know, basically what that quote is saying is that those boyfriends and girlfriends who, or dates or whatever that you go on, you don't have to put up with that. You can say, you know, no, I'm not going to accept this, or no, I really don't think this is working out. But don't just like put them on hold and be like, this isn't working out, see you later. No. You need to let them know why it's not working out. You know, I don't think we have anything in common. There's no chemistry. You know, and the worst thing that you can possibly do, and guys especially, if you're watching this, guys, don't do this to these girls, because I've had this done to me before I got in a relationship that I'm with my boyfriend now. Do not do this to girls. It freaking sucks. Let me tell you this, what I'm about to tell you. If you need to dump a girl, or you feel like this is not going to work out, do not dump her through a text message, you asshole. Like, seriously? Tell her in person. You know, like, don't be like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work out, see you later. No, I ain't gonna see your ass later. You just dumped me. 5 minutes later, can we be friends? No, bitch. You can't be friends. Sorry, pardon my French, but no. Can't be friends. You know, I don't know if girls do this, because I don't date girls, I date guys, so I wouldn't know if girls, but I guess girls can do the same thing, you know. Maybe girls are out there doing that, saying, this is not gonna work out. I mean, that's the bad thing about technology these days. I love technology, don't get me wrong, it's very useful, it's very convenient, but when it comes to ending a relationship, you don't just send it through an SMS text message and be like, oh, be done with it. It's like it never happened. No. Okay? N-O. You don't do that. Okay? That's like the worst thing you can possibly do. You know, meet in person, tell them why, and move on with your lives. You know, like in the good old days where they didn't have cell phones before, they didn't have email. They met in person and they talked through things. You know, like in some scenarios, people should still be doing that, meeting in person and telling why this is not going to work. Not sending it through a text message and thinking that you can just avoid your problems. Because that's stupid and immature, and you need to grow up if you're doing that. So, raise your standards, focus on yourself. When you aren't looking, that's most likely when it will happen. I know people have probably told you that before, but it's true. But, if you aren't looking, and the guy or girl sends like a signal that he or she likes you, and play hard to get in the beginning, that's fine. But if you keep playing hard to get so much, and then you just let that person walk on by because you're playing hard to get so much, guess what? Somebody else is going to find that person. Because if they're a great, amazing person, and you really, really like them, but you don't want to just instantly get with them because you don't want to act desperate or feel like, or show that you need to be in a relationship, that's okay to do for the first few days or so. But if you keep doing that and playing hard to get, and that's gonna get old, and then somebody else is gonna come along and get that guy or girl, and you missed out on the opportunity. So don't sit back too long. But at the same time, don't date every guy or girl that asks you out. Because, you know, you just need to raise your standards. And that's my story or lecture of the day. Raise your standards and have a great night.